What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's Coach Hussein, aka the Militant One, where fight can't be eternal. And today is episode 3 of footwork tutorials. What we're gonna go over today is the pivot. Okay, we're gonna jump right into it. So once again, we are in our stance. This is how I teach the pivot. Okay, we're gonna start with the lead foot, of course. So what we're gonna do first is we want to pivot to our outside. What I like to do is take the lead foot and turn the heel while spinning on the ball of my foot this way to begin with. Then this back foot is going to go a quarter of a circle, so I end up facing this way. Okay? Once again, I take the lead foot, I turn into a pivot, I turn the heel out this way, here, so that it looks like both of my feet are facing this way. And I pivot on the ball of my foot, so I'm turning on the ball of my foot. So think of, you ever seen Michael Jackson, that meme, the video meme of Michael Jackson when he's just doing this? Comical as that look, that's essentially what you want to do first off. But what you want to do is take this lead foot here, and then you want to take this a quarter of a circle back this way. Okay? So, once again, in full motion, this is how your pivot should look. Just like that. Okay? Now, in our first few videos, we talked about stepping forward, backward, left, and right. So, if we apply the pivot to those 4 basic movements, those 4 directions, if I step to my left and I pivot, it looks like this. Here, and then I go right into my pivot from there. Right here. Okay? If I move forward, I step forward here, and then I go into my pivot. Okay? When you're moving forward, you want to make sure that when you step, you don't bring the rear foot behind you immediately and then go into your pivot. So it should look like this. Just like that. Then I come back the other way. If I move backward, it should go the same way. Now, when you're moving back in your pivot, it's difficult, okay? Because you want to take a full step back here, and then you go into your pivot, okay? As opposed to going to a step here, boom, and then from here, if I take it without bringing this lead foot back, I can't go into my pivot this way, okay? So when you're moving back and applying the pivot, you take a step back completely, 1, 2, then you go into your pivot. Okay. Now, there's also the inside pivot, which I'm not exactly a big fan of. But in order for you to understand how you can pivot both ways, the inside pivot works like this. So this foot comes across as I slip my opponent's punch. So I will come here, and then from here, it works the same way. I take this foot and I turn it here. So that's the inside pivot. Once again, break it down. I slip. This lead foot steps out as I slip. So now the punch is basically going on a plane right by my head. If anything, it should touch my shoulders right here. And then when I take my foot and I turn it. Watch the move of my foot here. So my rear leg has to go into a complete circle. Well, not a complete circle, but a half a circle. Actually, it goes in a quarter of a circle as well. So I'm here, I step off this way, and then this rear foot goes into a quarter of a circle also. And I'm facing this direction, okay? There's ways you can pivot off of the back foot as well. When you pivot off of the back foot, however, what happens is you end up switching your stance. So this is how this pivot works off the back foot. If I decide to slip, right? So let's say I slip again and I step to my right. So as I slip here, and then what I do, this foot right here now becomes my lead foot as I turn and pivot. Okay? So once again, I slip, bam, I step out, I plant on the ball of my foot, and then I swing this into a half of a circle. Okay? That's how the pivot works. I can also, if I go to steps 5 through 8, what I do is, let me switch back to this stance. So what ends up happening is I take this rear foot and I step right here as I slip. So I go to the inside. So here, and then once again, it's the same thing. Okay. If I decide to go to 7 from this stance, I slip here, boom. And then from here, remember, keep your hand up, of course. So I come back, I come here, slip right here. Okay. If I go back to 8, right, it works the same way. But the difference is it's not so much of a complete pivot. So I come here, bam, and then I bring this foot back this way. Okay. It's still a pivot, technically. So now if I decide to come back this way, and in this way, it's not exact, this direction is not exactly a pivot. So if I'm here, so instead of coming, so if I pull, what I wouldn't recommend pulling this way. This is a bad movement. Okay. So if anything, what I would do is just step back. That's all. And then go into my pivot originally. However, if I'm in southpaw, it works differently. So I can still do that same movement. So I can step back here and then get back in this direction. Get back in this position. So once again, in southpaw, I can step back here on 8. Excuse me, or 7. Excuse me, this is 6 actually. So I step to 6, I pull, and then back here. Okay. So I'm giving you different angles of how to use your pivot. So if we do this in southpaw, okay, southpaw, take the lead foot here. Okay. If I go to my inside, I step here, offline, then I come back this way. Okay. If I'm moving forward, here, pivot. All right. And if I move backward, back here, pivot. Okay. Always remember that key point to make sure that you turn on the ball of your foot. So you don't want to pivot using the whole foot. Okay. Or you definitely don't want to pivot using your back foot. Okay. Now in southpaw, if I decide to go this way, I can still do that same thing. I can still go to 7 here. Go. I can come back. I'll show you that same footwork again. So I come here, slip right here. Okay. Back in southpaw again. Once again, if I go back this way, which again is unrecommended, I don't recommend doing that at all. Okay. So if you pull on a punch, you just go straight back here. That's also a backwards pivot as well. Okay. So if I decide to go back this way, if anything, I'm going to take this foot and then go into a gallop, if anything. So I don't have to worry about that pivot. The pivot also can help going around the world. So in essence, I can slip, okay, come this way, pivot, and then just go around the world. Okay, that's a technique we're going to go over in our next episode. But today's emphasis to wrap up is just going in our pivot. So a drill to actually get this pivot down would be just keep your lead foot right here, one circle. If you can grab a loop, keep your lead foot here and then just turn into one direction. Preferably starting to your strong side, whether you're in orthodox or southpaw. So you can turn here, turn again, and again. Okay. And if you're in southpaw, you can turn here, again, and again. Notice how it stresses and you're exercising the lead foot. Okay. And you can do the same thing going to the inside pivot. Here, 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 here. Okay. So this is how you can drill your pivot. All right. And once again, you also remember each direction. So I can come this way. I can step here, slip off, pivot. I can step inside off the back foot. Here, pivot. I can step left or right. Going to my left first. Slip, pivot. And I can step to my right. Slip, pivot. Okay. So this has been a tutorial on the pivot and ways in which you can use the pivot in fighting. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for episode 4. If you like what you saw, like the video, share, and subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate it. Once again, this is Coach Hussein with Fight Camp Eternal. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.